Hey, yo, my dog, I don't know what she got going on, child. Okay. I'm wondering if that's my Amazon delivery. I'm wondering. She's tripping. It actually might be my Amazon delivery. I'm thinking. Okay. Nova, what's wrong? Okay. My iPad. All right, so let's do a quick sound check. Hey, sis. Hey, Tori. Happy Venus Day, sis. How are you? How are you doing? Okay. So we're gonna get into the live here in a second. I am going to do a quick sound check just to make sure that I can hear myself. Can y'all hear me good? Is it the sound okay? Yeah, I can. Okay. Just making sure. I'm gonna hold on. Goodness. I gotta check something real quick. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Goofy Nova. Okay. All right. Okay, so we back. We back. Okay. All right. So I hope everybody's doing well on this lovely Friday. So hopefully this topic will reach you where you are, where maybe where you need it. Okay, giving you some guidance on tapping into your own vibrational energy or your energy signature, your unique essence, right? What makes you, what makes you iconic and legendary. Doesn't have to be about anything about fame, celebrity, entertainment, none of that. Whatever God instilled on the inside of you, that is your purpose, that is your essence, your energy, your power. That's what we're going to tap into. Okay. All right. All right. Yes, we are live, sis. So if y'all can show some love, show some likes, okay, to the channel. Not just when I'm pulling cards for y'all, because I notice Ghetto Fairy Friday, some of y'all don't show up because I ain't doing the first five fairy thing. Um, sometimes I gotta balance out the energy. I can't, that's giving too much sometimes. Even though it's free, I feel like um I would like people to, um, I guess I want to inspire people or at least spark some sort of like different perception on what we give and what we versus how we take things. So are we only just loving people as long as they do things in the way that we want them to, or as long as they're giving to us? So without just giving and giving and giving and giving, you know what I'm saying? Can you appreciate people as they just show up, right? Because when content creators come on, or at least those that come on with, good intentions, that do this from their heart, right? Their purpose, their call, whatever, they show up and they're giving you something for free, whether it's knowledge about something, an experience that they had. Doesn't have to be like tarot readings and stuff like that. It could be someone that's teach like education or sharing their testimony, their story. That's a gift to people that need it. And I want to challenge people with this perspective that people in our everyday lives, like, how were they a gift to us? Because sometimes, and even I'm sure that I may have done it recently. I know I've done it before, and times with people where we think about what they're doing versus what they're not doing. holding people to standards of, as long as you show up for me in this specific way, then I appreciate you. But then you got to ask yourself, do you really appreciate people or that person or what is really given? One thing I feel like that kind of helped me with this is like my parents, right? Especially my mother. Like, with my mother, like our relationship, like there's holes in it. There's things that need to be mended, right? Different things as a child, like you have to look at it. And as a mother myself, as that has helped, that has shaped my perception around, because sometimes you feel like your kids don't appreciate what you do for them, even if it's keeping food on the table, clothes on their back. And it's like, yes, you're supposed to take care of your children, right? But when you go the extra mile for your children, when you break your back for your kids, right? And because you want them to have, you don't want them to feel, like, if I don't have, because certain things that kids ask for, those are perks, those are not necessities sometimes, right? Like, as long as y'all got what y'all need. But sometimes parents will break their bank, like, I gotta get this PlayStation for my son, my daughter want this new laptop or whatever, she want to go on this school trip that costs $300, I don't have that right now, certain things like that. And you do it because you want your children to be happy. And a child could go, well, you didn't do this, you didn't ride my bike or didn't ride bikes with me, and you're like, I didn't have this, how I mean, like, you can perceive a thing. Like, I'll look at something my mom or my dad, I feel like they didn't do enough of, in a way, rather than going what they did do, and even how they still show up, even if it's minimal. If I need something, they'll be there, or if they text me good morning, or like, it's things that we can easily take for granted, be like, but you weren't there when this, it's like, you know um I hope I'm making sense with this. But all I ask y'all, because it's an energetic currency thing, and I've expressed this, before, that when I come on, sometimes I don't always want to come online, because I feel like I give, and people only appreciate it when it's shaped around um specific types of readings and energies. And I understand that not everybody is going to be vocal about what they like, what they resonate with, or how you've helped them and all of that. I understand, some people may feel shy, or just might show gratitude behind the scenes. But I do see differences visibly, like different differences of interaction, and it can be disappointing sometimes, especially when you're passionate about a specific thing, or you come on and you're like, oh yeah, I know this is like going to help somebody, this inspired me, I want to share this, and nobody's listening to it because it's not tailored around entertainment, or a boxed in perception of like tarot, or what a reading should be, or whatever you know what I'm saying. So yeah, and that's something within myself that I'm also working on, is um not taking it personal, because people have certain habits. Like, some people just scroll, they don't think too much about it, to show a like or whatever. But it's energetic currency. That's my perception, and I'm learning to do this with other content creators as well. It's like, if it's something that I genuinely appreciate it, because sometimes there will be moments where I will be like, oh, that was cute, or oh, that was, whatever I needed, and you'll just scroll past it once you're done watching it. And sometimes you'll like it, or you'll save it, because maybe it was just that funny, maybe it was just that inspiring, or something creative. But lately, I've been doing more diligence to be like, let me, like, if I genuinely like something that I've come across, that I'm gonna like it. Because I used to be shy, like, I don't want people to know that I like this, like, whether they think like, oh, you weird, just kind of feeling like that rejection wound, like, oh, I can't show that, especially like platforms where you can see who likes things. Like YouTube, you can't even see who likes your shit, you don't even know. And that's the thing, I'm like, y'all, I don't know what that is. But so I'm doing better with that. Like, if I genuinely like a post, and if I feel like it blessed me in any kind of way, whether it was like some sort of motivational message, whether it was like a creative post, or somebody, like, oh, she did that, like she created that, or that was funny, or whatever, I'm gonna show gratitude for that, because that came at the time that I needed, whether it made me laugh, whether it made me think, whether it inspired me to do something or create something, like it's helping me spiritually, or oh, okay, so that's Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Like it's an energetic currency. Like you just showing love. I'm gonna be real. Like it. I'm gonna call a thing when I see it. Like I notice that when I'm not slaving away in a sense of giving so freely without much return, y'all like it. Y'all love it. Not everybody, but some like it and love it, right? Um, so the engagement, I don't want it to be just because y'all want to hear me as a reader. If that's what y'all resonate with me or associate with me as, and y'all resonate with my readings alone, you don't resonate with me as a person or my messages outside of just pulling tarot cards. That's, I guess that's, you know, that's your free will. That's just where you resonate. That's the level of, okay, I only resonate with this part. But um as somebody that is multidimensional, most spiritual people are multifaceted, multi-talented, and gifted with things. And this is a lesson I feel like: do not put yourself in a box. There's so much more that you have to offer than just one thing. You know, creatives cannot be boxed in, right? Prophetic people cannot be boxed in, you know, because they're used as divine vessels. They don't have to. This is the thing about prophets. Multiple things about prophets, and I probably do a video on this. But ancient prophets were messengers of what we needed to hear, what we need as fair warnings, as heads ups, as, you know, convictions to get your shit together, or the community or the city, the temple, the land, whatever, to get y'all shit together. Or potentially, this is what I see: kings, y'all could be leading to y'all demise of y'all kingdom if you don't adhere to this. Like the Sibyls would counsel the military, would counsel kings and things like that, and they would come to these sibyls and ask them to interpret dreams. And they weren't coming and say, oh, you're gonna get married to this so and so over here, this gonna be the next lady, the next queen, you know. It was telling them like, hey, Caesar, whoever, so and so, I can't remember what king it was, that one of the sibyls had told them, like, you could be led to your demise if you ain't careful, you know. um Prophets coming in and saying y'all could be led into famine if y'all don't correct this, get it right. Prophets weren't coming to tell you if you was going to be famous, or you was going to have a whole bunch of money, if you're going to fall in love. Like that wasn't the total basis of it. When you have a gift, you can tap into a worldwide range of different things, right? Some are more sensitive to different types of topics and energy. Like for me, I do feel like I'm a prophetic voice for love, whether that's self-love, whether that's divine love, whether that's karmic toxic connections, like that, or family bonds, relationship with God. Like that's the sector. But you notice that not everything that comes through is always going to be light and fluffy. So we've been spoiled in thinking that prophetic messages, even in the church, people have become spoiled in thinking that God is coming through with a message about something that's going to tickle your ears and make you feel good. Sometimes, no, God is like, we don't pay attention to things on the surface. Like sometimes we might, spirit, God, our angels be trying to get our attention about something we need to like be mindful of, and we don't pay attention because we're focused too much, we're overstimulated with different things in life, or we're stubborn, or we just don't understand how to interpret it. And God will send somebody that has that energy or that voice of a prophet to be used. And prophets are not perfect. There's certain messages that God will give me to give to people that I have not mastered. That's the humbling as a messenger, as a prophet, or whatever you want to call it. That's the humbling in it, is that I have to trust that I'm being used as a vessel, even if this is something that is beyond my comprehension as a human, something I have never experienced yet, maybe something I haven't mastered yet, because God doesn't call the perfect. He calls, or they call, divine source God calls those that are equipped and ready and willing and open, have the heart for it. Not because you show up as a slogan of, I'm perfect in this, I'm qualified now, you know, I bossed up now, so I can be that messenger. Yes, it helps to have expertise in things, because that's where the testimony comes in, where you mastered, or even human wise, that makes it relatable, makes you someone that people are like, you're not just coming and you're not talking to me, or you're not talking at me, you're talking to me in my spirit, or you're talking with me, or you're walking with me, even as a messenger. Because I'm going to reference Jeremiah in the Bible specifically. He was young, and when God called Jeremiah and told him that I want you to be the voice of these people, he was like, I'm too young for this shit. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I can't do that. I'm not qualified. I'm not old enough to just be like, hey, y'all. And it's intimidating because you're like, ain't nobody gonna listen to me. Like, you feel like you 5'3" in the spirit realm when you're really like 12 feet tall or probably higher than that in the spirit realm because you're measuring your humanness versus like what God sees inside of you, right? So Jeremiah, what's that favorite quote that everybody loves? However you want to decode it on a cult level, or you want to read it verbatim for what it appears to be, where he says, I formed you in your mother's womb. Like I already knew who you were. I already knew who I called you to be in your mother's womb. So this is not a debate, right? So that imposter syndrome, we all deal with it. I've definitely dealt with it. How am I going to speak to people in a way that I'm still struggling in this area, or I have not come to union with someone? But it's common sense in certain areas. We know, like, if I'm speaking to someone about low self-esteem, we know it's common sense that with low self-esteem, like anybody can go through that and deal with it. We know it's not something that's necessarily healthy to the human experience, but sometimes, it's necessary and it's natural to feel those things, even if you haven't mastered it. And anybody anybody that knows, like, it's so easy to see other people's lives clearer than you can see your own. Y'all know that, right? Because sometimes it's better and clear because you're not emotionally attached. Your biases are not as strong as it would be against yourself when you measure yourself and you are like, you can see life clearly for everybody else, or you can give the best advice to someone else. But it's like, even with that, I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this, whether you just like are having a conversation with your friends or whatever, and you're giving some good advice and you sit with that and be like, dang, I need to apply that. That's human. And maybe sometimes God will do that. Like, I'm not just conversing through you to give to this person, but I'm conversing with you as well. Like, this is something you need to take in as well, take heed to as well. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that, like really what prophecy really is, because unfortunately, like in this hotel community and shit like that, people look at it as just like some Monopoly game, 8 ball toy of just like, let me shake it up, and not taking it as something as sacred, or the symbols, or the gifting and tapping into to just different things, it's not a game, it's not just entertainment, because tarot can be entertainment, right? It can be entertainment. It One thing that I feel like makes tarot like fun as well is because you're tapping into the supernatural is something that I feel like everyone is curious about. Some people are scared, some people are like, ooh, that excites me, or it opens my eyes, because it's like you get to see like the limitlessness of the universe and the divine. You can read cards so many infinite ways. Like, one person might have a take on like what a card means to them or in that very moment, and you be like, dang, I ain't never thought about that. And it resonates. Um it is something that can be entertaining in that sense, or something that is eye-opening, or maybe some things come out that's funny, or it's like something that's memorable, like, but it's not meant to be taken lightly in that sense. Like, I'm just gonna be pulling just to be pulling, or I just want to say the right thing so I get views and I get likes, or maybe I get some bookings by, I'm gonna do some twin flame clearings and healings and things like that, so you can get back into union and shit shit like that. And that is a gift that some people do have. I do believe that there are um energy healers out there that can help people, but you can't make people come into union. Like, no one outside of you has a power to put you in that position where you need to be. They could help you along the way, but it's up to you. Just like if you were go to uh let's say it was an opportunity to go to a record label or something. And I'm not encouraging anybody to do this either, by the way, because that's a whole other story. But when you, let's say, like, somebody that knows somebody, it's like, okay, I know an A&R at this record label, and I gave them your demo, or I showed them your videos on YouTube or something. They're like, yeah, bring so and so in. You got to show up as the voice, right? Whether you sing it, whether you rap, whatever you're doing, you have to show up and like align with that destiny. There's going to be destiny helpers, but nobody's going to be able to fix you. And this is another thing I'll be talking about in the spiritual community. We think that people are going to fix us, and they're not. That's why people love the concept of Jesus and God's going to come back and save me. Um, or I can just go back and I can repent. I can just repent as multiple times as I want because I know I'm gonna be saved. Like to me personally, like I've come to that's not a healthy concept of spiritual connectivity. It's not healthy for even your own soul's evolution and growth to think that's something or somebody. And that's just my take. I know some people still believe in Christ, and it sounds demonic to say, "Oh, Christ is not going." In that sense, I do not believe that Christ is a savior in a sense of I could just throw my hands up and everything will be taken care of for me. Even in the Bible, it says faith without works is dead, right? That's clear as day. You can't just live your life thinking like I'm waiting on God to just do it all for me. No, no, you give away the divine sovereignty that God gave you. That's another thing too that we misinterpret in my faith and my understanding. God is not somebody that is treating you like a subordinate, you know what I'm trying to say. Oh my God, I can't even talk. A beneath, an inferior being. God is a source that's connected to all, that's connected to you. So why would you be anything less than that? You know what I'm saying? Um, Christ is a perfect manifestation of the imperfect human being that understands that um they're not greater or better, but they are not less either. Does that make sense? That God works through them, that they are an extension of God. I feel like we misinterpret certain things in the Bible of God being this person like bow down and worship me type of energy versus in saying I'm a reflection of God and so are you. That's my opinion. That's just my take on that. So, long story short, I know that might be probably triggering for some, but that's just my take. That doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be gospel truth. Like we're all entitled to what we believe in. Um, as growing up as a Christian, born into Christianity, literally growing like born into it. Um, I've never felt like I had to find God in the means of how the church taught me. I've never identified with God in that sense or Christ in that sense. The stories of the Bible aren't, I just don't identify or resonate with churchy type of ideologies, if that makes, I've never have. Like, I loved going to church for certain reasons. Like, I felt, this earring is driving me crazy. I felt connected to God through um just being present and like watching people how they allow God to move, how they allow like the source of energy to move. And feel like a lot of that, and I'm probably going to talk about this too, like how African spirituality or like American African indigenous spirituality is still lingering in the church and like how that all connects. We're going to hold on to that. And I probably want to open up a live discussion because I know y'all got some stories, some of y'all, you know? Yeah. How energies move in the church in powerful divine ways and also in low vibrational or demonic, whatever you want to call it, lower vibrational ways. I want to talk about all that shit. We're gonna save that for another day. But let's open up the reading. Let's tap in. So we're gonna do our I'm overstimulated. Give me a second. That was a lot. Um I'm gonna do the legendary and iconic era collective reading. So this is also we're gonna do a ritual around that, or like one that you can do on on your own at home wherever you are. If it resonates, you can put your own flavor into it. But if this is to kind of a mix of prophecy, a little bit of empowerment energy, just as um that theme of your divine calling and how to walk in that. Hey, Tawanda, how are you, sis? Most of the mothers in the church are high priestesses or shamans, but won't admit it. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. I learned how to make holy oils in the church. That's hoodoo shit. That's voodoo shit. You know, Liberia. Hey, you Liberian girl. You're a Liberian girl. All right. So we're gonna get into this. Okay, it's kind of controversial too. This might be a little controversial, but I was inspired to do this. Y'all don't know. I was inspired to do this by the Mr. King of Pop, okay? Because regardless of what we think about this, the ninja, okay, he had a level or aura about him. Like how, like I always sit and think to myself, like how crazy it is to be the greatest entertainer of all time. Like that's some crazy shit. Like how do you even master to that degree? Like that's some crazy shit to me. Like if you think about it, like this probably is the most famous motherfucker in the like human being outside of like that's some crazy shit. I don't think I would want to be at that level of anything. Like that's just a little too much. And probably what comes with it, I'm sure. Like that whole thing, that's a lot. But if you think about it, like that's an energy or a person and a lot of greats, whether it's entertainers or whether it's poets and writers and things like that, like where you have such a like a I don't even know how to describe it, like a energy signature that cannot be duplicated. And I'll say the same thing about like Whitney Houston, like that voice, like that you could just sing anything, like you could just open your fucking mouth and just like bah, and just shit just be like damn, like that that's your own energy signature. You cannot replace that. There will never be another Selena. There will never be another Aaliyah. There will never be another Marilyn. Like you can't duplicate those energies. Like, and I don't worship fame because I that would no. Um, but we all have our own energy signature. That's why it's important to walk in your own alignment of your own path as who you're called to be. Um, because you got to own that shit. Like being a carbon copy of someone else, like it's probably flattering for other people to be like, oh, you're the next so and so, you're gonna be the next Michael Jordan, you're gonna be the next Kobe, or you're gonna be the next whatever. That might be flattering because like I'm okay, those are like top dogs, like in their craft, their skills, you know. But you want to be your own person, you know. You don't want to be a carbon copy of somebody else or because like we got too much clonery going on, you know. Um, you don't want to be another uh something of someone else. You want to be your own person, and that's what makes you influential. Is like what God instills inside of you and how you can use that, you know, how you can use that um in your life because when you tap into your own energy and your own essence, you unlock blessings connected to just your everyday life, the type of connections you'll come into, all of that. If you truly align and you don't sell yourself short, you don't sell yourself short, lesser than, or trying to be somebody that you're not. Okay. Um, okay. So I need to timestamp this. All right. My eyesight is shitty. I can't see that. I think I'm gonna estimate that we're at like 20 minutes, 28 minutes. Because that's what it looks like to me on the other side of that. I can't tell. Okay. I'm also gonna do the Venus on the Block reads too. Those $22 Venus reads, which it's like 9 different readings for you guys to choose from that will resonate with you. If you're interested, we'll do that at the end. Okay. All right, so I got my spread here. So let's see what energy defines your iconic era or essence. And when I say era, meaning like everybody has an era. I'm gonna use entertainers because that's the best way I can describe it. Like let's use Beyonce as an example. We don't all have to be fans of people. Like, see, I could separate things. I don't have to be like emotionally attached to give you your nod, to give you your flowers, to say, yeah, bitch, you did that. So I may not be the biggest fan, but I fuck with Beyonce's music. One of my favorite Beyonce albums, hands down. I don't like all of the albums of hers, or I like some things off the album, but one album I can play from top to bottom is B Day. Like that's my favorite Beyonce album. That was an era. She had the What was it? Dangerously in Love era. Now she has the Renaissance era, the whole Cowboy Carter type vibe era. What else? Madonna has motherfucking different eras, right? Who else? Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has different eras of her music, her catalog. Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad, uh, all those different eras, Dangerous, all those. What era of your energy are you at? Because Beyonce, let's say Dangerously in Love, that was her coming out. Yes, she was already in Destiny's Child, but as her own person, I have something to prove a little bit, or I have something to prove because I'm coming out in my own energy, right? Coming out as my own person. I have to make this impression, right? So if you're going to put this in a situation of what chapter in your life are you going to claim your greatness? Whether it's like it's a stepping stone where you're like kind of nervous about it, but you do it. That testimony, that story where you look back and like, I remember I was so nervous to launch that website. I was so nervous to um, launch this newsletter, but I'm going to do it. Right. And you look back and say, oh my God, like you could be shocked. And when you've grown and you look back at that moment that you allowed yourself to catapult, that's what, let's tap in. Like, where you at? Some of y'all probably already did that. You might be at your B-Day era already. You might be already at a certain, you know what I mean, point in your journey where you probably already launched certain things. Now it's like, okay, well, where next? But let's see. Collectively, let's tap in. All right, divine source, God, our angels, our ancestors, our guides who have our best intentions. This collective of energies, those who are meant to receive this message, what era are they in their iconicness and their greatness? Where are they at with this in this stage in their life? The stage in the game, where they at? Okay. So I'm gonna use my MJ playing cards. I'm gonna do a little cartomancy mixed with a little tarot and some oracle cards over here. I think I'm gonna use my divine oracle deck to clarify this. So you have the Two of Cups, Five of Wands, the Hermit, bottom of the deck, Judgment. All right, let's see. Spirit, thank you for your divine wisdom, truth, and clarity. With the Two of Cups and the Five of Wands, you might have to, not to me myself, girl. Are we at the single ladies? All the single ladies? No, just like, we at some level of that. No, but I feel like this has something to do with you kind of migrating out of this energy of, how do I explain this? There's multiple things coming through. Some of you guys might not be isolating yourself, but you are trying to separate yourself from the noise or separate yourself from the crowd, if that makes sense, of maybe like the hustle and bustle of life or a particular energy, craft, industry, passion, calling, purpose, something that you feel like, I need to take myself out of this, right? Like not out of your gift or your calling, but out of um, this energy of fight or flight, or even feeling like you need to compete with time, compete with numbers, compete with people, prove of yourself in some way, or people, it's like they're all fighting for the same thing. There's something that you got to step out of that and find what separates you and what makes you um or what you have inside of you, the light that you have inside of you with the Hermit, um what makes it powerful, the wisdom behind it. So you might be learning different parts of yourself at this point in your journey. You might be called to look at things in your past and be like, is this things that resonate with me now? It might challenge you to shift certain things, like integrate certain things and also separate from certain things, and maybe people, places, and things. What era? Four of Pentacles. Okay. So this is interesting because this comes from the Liberian Girl music video. And the whole video, like, Michael wasn't hardly even in it until like the end. Everybody was like looking for him, and it was like all these different actors and like public figures in the video, and they were all looking. And in the end, he was like, I guess, directing the whole thing, like behind the scenes. So like, you might be someone that, like right now, at least, taking a step back from, or being behind the scenes in some instance, or being the door opener for other people, or hmm, however you channel this. I want you to like channel this in your own unique way, like what that means, because I don't want it to be too literal, because that's not how it works, like especially collectively. So it's like, let me piece this in a way that, you can find your own self in it, right? So you're not lacking anything. Spirit might be saying like, you're not necessarily lacking. This might be a season where you are like, how do I explain this? For some, it's like you're okay with not being the full face in the front. Like you could still be the innovator or something. So, God, how to explain this? Let's say like magazines. You are the magazine, the editor, or whatever, or the person that pushed this magazine, but you want other people to be the face of it, right? That's kind of like, just as an example, it hasn't be that specific, but you feel what I'm saying? Like you are the platform, but other people, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. Some of you guys, this could be like photography for some of you, videography, something with film, where you are the behind the scenes. You got the lens, you doing the work, right? Behind the scenes, and you have the vision. And yeah, so some of you guys, it could be like, you might see where people struggle, where people like kind of bump their heads, and you're like, let me be the guiding light, the guiding messenger of this. Okay, all right, let me see, I'm gonna pull from my divine oracle. Trailblazer. What? You can't really see it. Trailblazer. That's you. That's your era right now. You're the trailblazer, and it's like, well, I'm shoot, I'm gonna be the one like that. Let me, okay, but that's not always an easy thing, right? Um, it can be kind of not isolating, but it can be kind of tough to be that, because you may not always have that outright support, or people that get it or understand or gravitate. Some people need other people to validate something in order for them to appreciate it. So you have relaxation, peaceful pursuits, and happy times. So the more chill you are, and you're not hustling and busting and like overextending and trying to keep up, improve, the better. The more lighter, the more happier you feel, and maybe even the more clearer you shall feel. All right, so let's put these back. I'm gonna ask the next question. All right, let's see. I got my spread. Hold on now, my spread. So you have, what keeps you from stepping into this though? What is that block that keeps you from stepping into this era here? Okay. Well, I'm out here and keep your heart, 3 stacks. Keep your heart. I love Andre 3000 for his innovativeness, his weirdness, because like if you notice, like if you followed or ever, you know of Outkast, like from their beginning, like his whole style change, not just visit like style physically, fashion wise, but musically, how he expresses himself, like it's unique, it's its own. And that's maybe something that I feel like, yeah, you're coming to embrace. The King of Cups came out first. Temperance card. Yeah, you're blending, like you're taking, like, okay, this is, let me pour some things, like I'm gonna pour some newness. I'm going to, you might even be in an experimental era. So maybe you guys are not allowing yourself to be open to experimenting and see what lands. Like it's okay to experiment. Most artists, they experiment with different things, like whether it's sound, whether it's different words, like okay, let me change this part, let me scratch this part out of my, like out of the song, or this part out of my book, like let me scratch like that, let me play around with it. Like anybody that creates anything, whether it's jewelry, whether it's graphic design, whether it's a photo shoot, you might have a whole vision in mind and it might look differently when it's all done because like let's put some pieces together. Ooh, what's that prop over there? Go grab that shit real quick. Let's put that in the picture. Like there's this you it's okay to experiment. This is what I'm getting like, and it's more so maybe even behind the scenes, like allowing yourself to do that. It doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you behind. This is where you're supposed to be. Some of you guys feel uncomfortable in that. It's okay. It's understandable. Um, but yeah, so you have the King of Cups, Temperance, the Fool, Seven of Cups, and Judgment again at the bottom of the deck. Again, interesting. I'm gonna leave that out because that might be like the overview energy of the whole reading. So beneath that is now the Empress. So yeah, you're in a creative flow. Just allow yourself to, like, you're good. Like spirit got you. Spirit's got you. The vision is not completely clear, and it's okay to play around with different viewpoints, different things. Like, okay, I may not know where I want to go with this, where I want to be. And it's okay. And when you're in that relaxed state of just living your life, that's where you find most inspiration from, when you're not trying to pull it out the ass. Okay, let's see. All right, you got the Ace of Diamonds. It's kind of like Ace of Pentacles. Um, this is a cringy picture, but um this could be like how I'm going to interpret this. It is going to go, what is this? It's all in Japanese. I can't fully understand that. But so what I'm getting from this is like there's new opportunities and new doors when you allow yourself to be okay with experimenting a part of yourself, maybe a part of yourself that you were kind of like downplaying or scared of or always felt was too much of a quirk. It's okay. It's like the messiness, the pulling apart, the let me try this. It is like if you're somebody, let's say like you're a mad scientist, right? The messier sometimes the more powerful or potent the potion when it's said and done. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like with magic too. The most powerful magic is like where you use what you got, you use what you have, you say, okay, let me try this, let me try that. It makes it more potent and more powerful when you do. So we think sometimes messiness equates to um something bad when it sometimes it's like, I hope I'm explaining this right. We look at certain things on the surface like, oh, this is not cookie cutter, this is not smooth transition, there must be something wrong in this, rather than when you're finding like different facets of yourself. How do I correlate those different facets, or how do I blend those energies in? How do they maybe create your Frankenstein? And again, like you can look at Frankenstein as like this crazy thing, right? But you created something. It's alive. Like shit, this shit is alive. Like you know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. These cards, is at the bottom of the deck, you have the King of Spades, and it's the same photo shoot. So um I feel like at certain eras, like let's say um the bad era into going into the dangerous era, like there was a lot of kind of like tapping into the sex appeal, because when you think about Michael, you think about like someone that comes off a little childlike, um, wears like the Sergeant Pepper type outfits or whatever, like those type of looks. But then like going into like, oh, I'm gonna rip my shirt open, I'm gonna do all this shit. It's like it might seem like something that it might be out of your element, right? It might be something that's out of your element, something that is tapping into kind of something that frees you from maybe I'm only this way, or you're only going to look at me like this, or this is the only way that I can express or live my life. And I'm not talking about sexual provocativeness and things like that in that sense, but like this part of myself, like I'm too this, maybe I'm too quirky, maybe I'm too nerdy, maybe I'm too deep, or you're not too much of anything if it's something that's core soul you. Does that make sense? All right, let's pull on that. What's the block? I'm sorry you're going through that, sis. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not going. I mean, unless it comes out, if anything with romantic energy comes out, we'll tap into it. But we're gonna stick to like our energy for now. Ooh, you have the road opener, open roads, the road opener candle. Hmm, that could be really literal. If you guys have been called to do this, um, your roads are not necessarily blocked, but like you may be kind of the source of like your stagnation or your perception of being stagnant is what blocks you. Let's see. Imprisonment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can y'all see that? It says persecution and judgment. This is against yourself or the fear of that this is what's going to happen to me if I do this, or if I express myself, or if I choose to live my life this way, if I show this part of myself. So that's what blocks you from your legendary era. That's what blocks you. Um, so let's see what your crowning gift. What is your divine unique essence that cannot be duplicated? Like no one can duplicate. What is that? What is it? That cannot be duplicated. What is it? The 10 of Pentacles, the Moon, the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, and the 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. This is weird. Okay. I mean, not weird. How do I explain it? It's almost some of you guys like, hold on. Let me see. Spirit. It's a unique gift or essence that cannot be duplicated about this collective. Same card came out again. Ace of Pentacles or Ace of Diamonds. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Hearts. Interesting. Okay. People cannot really figure out, like, they can't. It's like they can make certain assumptions, but it's like it's so something about your energy is very ambiguous. Hopefully I'm using that term correctly in this instance. Like something about you. Um, whether it's like presenting, I want to almost say like uh not maybe not looks, but maybe yes, like people who are like maybe clearly plainly I can tell you are of a specific ethnicity, but like your culture, like I don't know what, did you come from an island, did you come from a certain, like I don't know where to place you. It's not a bad thing. See, okay, this is where it's like I try to explain things in a way that's not going to go over too many people's head. I'm gonna, because this is the example, or what inspired me to even do this reading is Michael Jackson as an artist specifically. Very complex individual on the surface. Some people have a idea about different things about him, like um as a public persona, he's weird, he's wacko jacko, or he's a humanitarian that does all these great things. He's we ain't gonna get into it, but you know what I'm saying. He's a fashion icon. He's the greatest dancer. He's the greatest this, and that. Um, you can't really figure him out. Like that's how complex his energy is, and that could be something about you. Like, okay, is he gay? Is he straight? Is like women? Like, were these relationships curated? Are they fake? Was it real? Was it this strange shit? Like, you don't really know like where to place your it. Like, people could have a general idea, and then the next minute they're like, oh shit, I don't know. Shit, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, And that could add to the mysterious aspect of you, the moon and the seven of swords. Like some people might even kind of at times will say, if I can't figure you out, I don't necessarily really like you too much. And some people might also like they're intrigued by it at the same time. I feel like that's what makes certain um public figures more intriguing to certain audiences, whether they love them or they hate them. You can't if I feel like um the most intriguing people are multifaceted people. People that don't give everything away. It's very magician like vibes. That's what I get from this. Like you trigger and inspire people at the same time. Like I just get like you can't be figured out. Like something about your energy. It's not a bad thing at all. You may have not always fit in certain spaces, whether that was like with family, whether that was like with peers. To some level, it's like you may have not always made sense to people, and you're not supposed to. Now I'm hearing Thriller. Thriller was like the thing, the album and that music video itself is what made him like shoot off. Thank you. That's what catapulted. So it's like you your energy within itself, like you being in this moon energy, maybe of deep introspection, trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to express myself as a person? What does my life look like moving forward? Or how do I want it to look like moving forward? You're creating your thriller. Okay. You look at that music video, you can take this in so many different ways. I feel like you can deep dive and you will still never really scratch the surface of like what the fuck Michael was saying sometimes in some of his shit. But like in the beginning where he turns into a werewolf, remember he's like, I'm not like other guys, and all of a sudden he turned into a quote unquote a monster, a creature. Right? I feel like that represents shadow self, a part of ourselves that we're like shy, like, people are gonna think I'm weird or it's too much. I'm not gonna sing this song. I'm not gonna sing like that. I'm not going to write this. I'm not gonna launch that. I'm not gonna launch the podcast with this topic or subject matter or title. It's like that whatever you are going like, that is what's going to catapult you, that as long as it's not harming people, right? It's not malicious energy, like something just wild out there fucking with people. But if it's something that you're just like, this is it's really what you're afraid of is being seen um for you. That's really what like you're afraid of, that part of yourself that you want to keep hidden. But like I said, good news is, right? Even as you show up and like in this energy, you're not people cannot, you're just your energy's too like uh your energy's so colorful, and like if you were to like these blends of colors on a canvas that just all came together, and it's like, what is it? Is it a swirl? Is it, what is this? I don't, what the fuck is this? Like, I see this color over here. Obviously that's yellow. Obviously that's blue. That's green over here. That's pink. That's red, whatever. But I can't make sense of what I'm looking at. And that's what makes it intriguing. It's like, I want to see more. This is interesting. There's no other color palette like this. Let me like I just you know, that's your energy. That's what makes you someone that cannot be duplicated is, and it goes like on a basic level, obviously like the ambiguity of you, your energy, I guess. If that's like the right word, because that word keeps coming to me. And on top of like you individual, as all individuals, I can't say like that shadow part of yourself, the spirit is saying that part of yourself that you criticize and you demonize is your power, because you have to be okay with doing something that has never been done. That's what makes you a trailblazer in life. If you're, it's trailblazing could be not like social and fame or public figure status or even like a creator, an entertainer, a content creator, but like in your life, in your home life or your family, your bloodline, because some of you, you're meant to be different because you're meant to trailblaze something. You're meant this if you want to put it in the box of generational trauma, generational curses, and you being that breaker of that, or the person that transmute that energy, however you want to put it, like whatever it is that you feel like you are afraid to embrace, that is your superpower. The thing that you feel like, oh, that's embarrassing about me. I would never. That's the shit that's going, I'm telling you, if it was like you used to be a drug addict. I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. You used to be a drug addict, right? That could look embarrassing because your life may not look like that anymore. You may not, somebody may not have ever known that unless they personally knew you. You know, somebody out there that you might touch might be struggling with a motherfucking addiction right now, or somebody that has a loved one that's struggling with something. By you sharing this part of yourself and saying, this used to be me, this was my story, this is how I got through it, that's something that is going to be the thing about you. If it's, I'm gonna share this with you guys, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, and this just popped up. This was intriguing to me, okay, because I've never heard of this. It was clickable because it had like over 900,000 views on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like over nine. It was in the 100,000s view count. Let's just put it that way. It was a video of a man. Okay, maybe trigger warning. I'm about to get into adult conversation slightly, just for a second, as an example, because it made me click on the shit. Okay, this guy, his story was the title was masculine bottom. I'm not gonna go too much into what that means. I feel like some of y'all know LGBT community, whatever, you know what that term is, bottom. But he refers to himself as a masculine bottom. His story was intriguing because he was expressing or explaining how, in his experience, that is something that is very rare in his community because it's usually like masculine presenting same sex relationship. They'll go for the feminine presenting person in that relationship and vice versa. So with him, it's like, no, I'm masculine, but I want masculine too. And he got so much pushback with that because in that space, in that circle, that's not something that is, I guess, great preference, a majority of a preference for them, right? In relationships. He said, I could find that in a adult relation, you know what I'm saying, situation. But when it comes to, I want the love part of it, I want the romance, I want the partnership in that, I can't find that, right? Him sharing his story probably freed a lot of motherfuckers. His story, I feel like it drew me in. Shit. You see how many views? You remember that lady, who the F did I marry on TikTok? That whole like 60 part plus, that is embarrassing to share, right? You would be like, oh, bitch, you stupid. I'm not sharing this. I sound crazy. If I share this, people gonna look down on me. They're gonna think I'm just like a weak bitch, this, and that. The heifer got a whole like creative. When I say heifer, I'm not talking about her weight. That's like a black thing, slang type thing. Some of y'all know. Like when you say, oh, that bitch, and you know what I mean? I'm not calling heifer, but that woman, she went ahead and posted that. Many people made discussions about. Some people were like, this, she's stupid, she's dumb, ladies learn from this. Some people were like, this is a cautionary tale, learn from her. People were intrigued. They're like, did you watch this? Did you see it? It sucks people in, it hooked people in. But if you look at things from a high perspective, you can look at that as like, somebody probably out there needed that to learn, to like break the cycle, to see that. I can't remember what the guy's name that like the man that she was with's name, I don't remember, but to not repeat that cycle with another person like that in your life, right? To not be that woman, to see the red flags. Because she said herself, this was like one of the key things that she said. It was like in one of the beginning videos that she shared. She said she knew that it was a red flag to meet up with him before they even met up on their first date. She said her tire fell flat and it was almost like God or the universe or something was going to try to stop her. She knew in her spirit, she knew this is not the man for me. I should not be going to this, meeting up with this person. And she did anyway. And she continued and she continued. but it's a part of the testimony. You know what I mean? Like you can be embarrassed and hide. She got celebrity people talk, like people that are you think that wouldn't even watch your shit talking about that story. And who's to say that some of them have never dealt with that type of energy or is not dealing with that? And like I said, it got her a creative publishing deal or something like that. I can't remember what the exact uh the proposal of what it was that she signed, like that she's contracted for. I think it's like for her creative rights or something like that. They want to create a movie off of it or a book or something like that, something along the lines of that. But share, share. Your voice matters. Even if it's like you go to a meeting, you're like, I'm embarrassed to go get treatment. And you go to this meeting and you share your testimony. Somebody that's still dealing and struggling with addiction might need to hear, you know what I'm saying? Like, or you go to a church and it's like, I'm avoiding going to church because I feel so shameful for the life that I lived. And you go up and you share your testimony. Somebody that's sitting in that church right now that's probably hiding the shit that you have gone through, that they're currently going through, hiding it, feeling ashamed, and you speak on it. You could be someone that has a speech impediment. You could be someone that has Tourette's. And you're like, I can't be a public speaker. I can't be a model. I can't be whatever you feel like is, because you can have any type of platform that you want. This is why I don't like about certain rich people, and what I don't like about certain public figures is that you don't use your fame for anything to help or inspire people. You just in it for the check. You just in it for the money. You just in for the fame. You in for the trips and the the clothes and the shoes and the handbag. Like you're just in it for those reasons. You're not in it for how can I help people in communities or take something about my life to inspire, you know, other people or future generations. Like, certain models, um, people might perceive like, oh, you're just a canvas, you're just standing there looking beautiful. But what I take it as, like, especially now with the diversity, there's more diversity than ever in the modeling industry, where you see different body types, different people of different ethnicities, facial features, people with freckles, people with vertigo, people with really great like big gaps, and imperfect teeth, just whatever, right? Body shapes, somebody out there that thinks that they're ugly or not beautiful or handsome enough, if they were to come across that person that doesn't look like the conventionality of what is promoted on a daily basis to us, right? In Western society, this is what's beautiful. That multifacetedness of human beings, if you were to say, I'm not going to show up to that modeling gig because I don't have a leg, or because I got so many freckles on my face, or my nose is too big, or um, I'm too short, even maybe, right? Because there are some models that are quote unquote too short for the modeling industry, or I'm too fat, I'm too plus size, I'm too this. Um, I don't look like a token black model. I don't look like Naomi or Tyra Banks. So I'm not going to go for it. If you would have just not showed up, you would have never been a representation for another girl or boy that looks like you to say, no, I'm beautiful too, or I'm inspired by that. So God can use any vessel and any avenue. Place your light in a dark space, as industries, different types of entertainment industry, levels of that can be a dark place, but you can be a light in any space, right? Whatever that is, whether that's a church, whether that's a school, whether that's an you know alcoholic meeting or whatever, like where people talk about their addictions, a round table, or someone that you come across at the grocery store, and like it's you are a walking sermon. You are a walking temple. You are a walking lantern of light, a star, in a sense of, and this is what I wanted to get at too. I almost forgot this. But if you look at the shape of a star, it's the shape of a human, really, if you really think about it. That five-pointed star, the head, the arms, the legs. So you're a star. And a star does not have to be just equate like how many people watch you and see you and fame. you're light. You play a role in the grand scheme of things. Like you're greater than what you allow yourself to be or to become. Um, I feel like tapping into this part of yourself, like I said, because you got the moon, right? You got the seven of swords and you got the eight of cups. The seven of swords and the moon is that self-deception. I feel like that part of you maybe is deeply rooted in generational things. You yourself are a light. When you shed light on your shadow, the shadow part of yourself, you turn the light on. That's powerful, if that makes sense. If the thing that you criticize yourself was a dark space, and the light inside of you, your inspiration, your truth, your wisdom, your experience, your testimony was the light, it would come in that space and say, no, this is actually what makes you you, or this what shapes or has shaped parts of yourself. Share it. As long as it has not become your slave, or you're not a slave to your traumas, you're not a slave to the person that you were in the past. If you know how to master that, you know how to look at it from a positive perspective. That's all that matters. And that takes away the shame and the blame too, or at least it's a start, because we're always going to be in a place where we criticize, blame, and shame ourselves for things that we feel were bad about us, or that we don't like, or what we went through, or what maybe we've done, or what we've done to other people, or what have you. But when you can go back and say, well, if I can reform myself from this with true repentance, I'm not talking about churchy repentance, but like the true definition of repentance, of something that you're not going to do again. You make that vow that it was wrong. I do not like this part of myself I did, or this part that I was, and I choose to shift out of that, be something different, be something more, um, be a voice, do better, whatever, right? Apologize to yourself, because sometimes a lot of us in the world, we need to forgive ourselves truthfully, not letting yourself off the hook of things. Like, it's not always that you did something bad to other people. Sometimes we can be our worst enemy. We hurt ourselves, and in truth, like when we hurt each other, we're hurting ourselves, right? um but yeah, long story short, this is something that cannot be duplicated. Okay. All right. Hello, Agnes, Robert. Close for spirit. Okay. Hopefully you guys can I don't know. That was like a whole thing. I was reading. I was almost done with the reading. That's what's crazy. I didn't know. I learned too late that nothing was happening. I wish somebody would have told me like sooner, because I was like did a whole that's crazy. Like, it's not always ourselves, right? Um, but yeah, long story short, this is something that cannot be duplicated. Yeah, that whole thing, I just was like went through a whole spiel. That's so crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy, because I swear, like I was going in a good way. Maybe it wasn't meant for people to. No, I'm not even gonna say that. Long story short, I'm gonna ask what is it that spirit wants you to do to embody your spiritual journey, your path. Um, I've been using examples of like, you know, your energy, your essence, like the very thing that you think is your shadow and something you feel shamed of owning, or um what have you, right? Nobody can tell you about you. That's another thing. And what I mean by that is not like from a stubborn sense, but like you have to own the parts of yourself maybe that you feel like are shameful, that people could use against you. Like, if somebody says, okay, I'm gonna use the example of um the movie 8 Mile with Eminem. How in that last scene he had that rap battle, and in that rap battle he exposed everything that the crowd didn't know, but the rival group, the rival rapper and his crew knew about him that they were going to use on him. He exposed all of that. He said, "Yeah, I live in a trailer park with my mom. Yeah, this person slept with my girlfriend. This, and that. Like all of that." And the crowd loved it and celebrated because that's brave. That's brave shit. That's boss shit, right? The other man didn't know what to say. Didn't know what to say. Like, okay, how do I combat that? Because people think that they can use your traumas and your shadows against you, as a means to tear you down. But when you own that part of yourself, whether you're still living it or you're no longer there, because people can be so stuck on the past of you because it intimidates that you're no longer that and you're no longer there. And not so much that they're intimidated by you as a personal thing, but what you trigger in themselves that feels like they could never be more than where they are or where they've been, or they're dealing with their own levels of shame, insecurities, and doubts. So I had this conversation with my sis. I'm like, there's certain things that I feel embarrassed to share sometimes, or that I have shared. I'm like, ugh, I shouldn't have said that shit. Especially live where you can't take that shit back. You can't remove it because it's live. Versus like you can go through a reading or video that you recorded, and then you can say, I can either launch this or not. But with this, or I can even go back and edit that part out of, that conversation. But when you're live, you're live. What comes out just comes out. And there's times I'm like, ugh. But it's like you're human, you know? And people gravitate towards things that are relatable. People like shadow things, whether they like the shadow in a sense of, how does this help shed light on my own darkness? How can I be inspired by this? And there's some people that indulge in darkness and stuff like that because they're low vibrational and they feed off of that, and you're always going to have somebody that has something to say. And my good sis Tori, she made a good point where I was telling her, like, there's certain things that I want to share on my channels and my platforms, or whether it's on my Patreon, with people that I trust, that are investing in this because they genuinely want to, like, connect. They value me. Like, it's an exclusivity to this platform, right? Versus this specific platform where it's public and anybody can indulge, and they may not actually value what you put out because it's free for them, right? They could just come on and just watch, right? Um, certain things that I'm like, I don't know about that. But who's to say that it won't help somebody, right? Guaranteed there's gonna be somebody that's gonna benefit. And there's going to be somebody out there that's probably watching, haha, bitch, that's what you get. Yeah, you still this. Then that shows the level of their spiritual evolution and their growth. If somebody else's pain and trauma, their shame or their struggles or past, whatever, makes you feel good about yourself, then that shows you where you are. It shows the level of maturity of that person and their spiritual maturity. So they don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. Like, who cares, right? So are you gonna stop putting yourself forth because you're afraid of the pushback? And it's human to have that fear, but it's more liberating when you own that shit. Okay. So you have the Queen of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Fool, the Two of Wands, and the Five of Wands. Wow. Okay. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Pentacles. So, how to embody the Spirit's guidance to embody this path. You have Four of Spades. How to embody this energy again is like standing in your truth, honoring your truth, honoring your past, like it's like you're sharp-minded. Your expression of, whether it's verbal expression or just life expression, how you live your life, it's coming from a place of sovereignty over your pain, because the Queen of Swords can come off as someone that is very bitter, jaded, but she's not. She's sharp, she's wise, and she's self-protecting, but she's still receptive, you know? That's how spirit wants you to walk in your journey, in your path, in your essence of yourself. The things that you may struggle with, spirit saying continue to push forward for you. You know, the life or the path of the prophet or the trailblazer, the the ones that are multifaceted, the ones that are colorful people, you cannot make sense of you, and you're not supposed to make sense to everyone. You are meant, your energy is meant to make people think. It's meant to trigger and inspire in a way of, how do I explain this? Your energy causes people to question different things about self, about life, about beliefs, about their feelings, about truths, maybe about religion, maybe about beauty. Like, oh, I'm not usually attracted to people like you, or I don't usually come across people like you every day, or your energy, but you're something that people cannot fully make sense of. So you make them think, you make people push past their limitations. You're the full energy, free. Ground zero, point zero. It's the void of all creation. That's the vibe of your energy. Two of Wands. It's like you can either choose to walk towards this, that spark or that trigger, or you can walk in the path, because you might have. I mean, people don't always like what they can't make sense of, because they can't control it and they can't spin the narrative, right? They can only control what they think they know about you, or parts and aspects, or a timeline of how they knew you. But when it comes to like the challenge of, okay, this person challenges my mind in a sense that may be uncomfortable, may be kind of weird sometimes, or not usually what I think, like, oh, this is a beautiful man or woman, they're just this way. Beautiful men or women are stupid, or they're self-centered, or they're egotistical, or they think they're better than me. And then when you get to know them, that person is a whole motherfucking scripture. And you're just like, fuck. You can either be inspired and be like, damn. Or you can be like, oh, they're not what I think. And you feel some type of way about that. People like what they can control, and people don't like what they cannot control. You know, even if a part of them is sparked by it, because that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to spark that flame, that fire. That's that divine energy essence. You're meant to. We're meant to spark each other. Life is not about being comfortable, right? It's being uncomfortable with the unknown, and being uncomfortable with the difference, or the differences, or the indifferences, and being able to respect, which people don't know how to do that. Like, respect us. That's what makes it beautiful. And I always say this all the time. I say this a lot, that I wish that people could respect each other in their differences. I feel like real love is when you're different from me, and I can acknowledge that you're different from me and still love you, rather than being like you have to be the same, or you have to be palatable, or something that makes sense to me for me to like you or respect you. And what I mean by that is, like, you can identify and resonate with people that you don't like. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that I don't like their music, or I don't really agree with all of their beliefs, but I can find something that I can say, like, I respect that part of that person. Like, I fuck with that part of a person. The world would be such a better place if people actually could celebrate each other's differences, or stand to live in a world where people were different and not feel some type of way about that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not real love. That's unconditional. Or that's conditional love. Yes. Sis took the words out of my mouth. That is real love. Yes. That's like a cookie cutter world, or like Stepford Wife type reality, where everybody is just just perfect curated reality. That's robotic. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. And the reason why we have so much discord in the world is because of that. It has to be this or nothing else. This is good, this is bad, this is this is that. And if it's not, no. Why did God create people to be different? Why do we come in so many different facets and different creative minds and emotions and perceptions, inspirations? A person in their purity can love a person in their own unique way, right? But if you say, oh no, that's not real love because you ain't loving me like this. And I don't mean like somebody that's treating you like shit and make an excuse like that's just the way I love, you know. Like, no, motherfucker, you toxic. No. But um a person that's like, oh, you can only be this way, you know, you can only love me that way, or there's only one way to be in union with someone, or a family dynamic. That's the problem with family dynamics. Is like some families feel like if you live this, you got to be this. A child that gets good grades, a child that's popular, that's in football or cheerleading or chess or doing something that I can say, look, my kid did this. That's the only way you can celebrate your kid. But if your kid says, hey, I'm gay, or hey, I don't want to go to college, I want to do this, or I have ADHD, so you know, like things that make a person go, oh, my child's not perfect. Oh, you know, like that is where that energy comes in, where we feel like we can't accept ourselves, because if family can't accept me or my parent or whoever, parents or my peers or whatever, and they celebrate those that fit in that box, motherfucker. They fit in the box. The person that doesn't fit in the box is the one that creates the motherfucking change. They break the change, they break the cycles, okay? They break that. If a person, because we all have a path of our own to walk. We spend so much time, or humans have this thing where we spend so much time on trying to live up to a dream. Everybody chases the American dream, right? What is the American dream? The American dream is not laid out foundationally to rule in everyone's favor, so that in itself is not something that we're all going to experience. And if you want to put race into it, you want to put classism into it, like that's not real. What is your dream? What is your life? What do you want your shit to look like? Because that's the problem. Is like, let's keep it like this and let's mold it in that's the being put in a box. That's a motherfucking prison. What is a prison? It's a fucking box. You're in prison. You are in a cell in a fucking square shaped motherfucking room, and you're caged in. Putting shit in a box is being imprisoned. Being in a motherfucking prison. For real. Being in a motherfucking prison. That is not your story. That's not for you. You know? That's not for you. The Four of Swords is like, or Four of Spades energy. In my understanding, yes. I never understood that either, but Freebird, but it's because, let me read what Freebird said. I've never understood hating someone for being who they are authentically. I don't have to be who that person is, believe what they believe, but I can still acknowledge and honor God created. If we could live in a world like that, if we could live in a world like that, because that is agape love. God loves in a way. I created all you motherfuckers in different forms, different this or that's, body types, shapes, colors, this, that, minds, visions, things that you are to create. Why the fuck do you think? And this is why I'm not going to get into this. It's going to fire me up. But this might be one of the things, like one of the fires that God placed in me to like speak about. But we you know, that that racial system that says this is superior over every other life existence. That is a demonic ideology, because it goes against God's ideology of we are all, I created you motherfuckers all. So if I can create you multifacetedly, you know, or I'm not going to get into science and how we all got here and things like that. But I find it mighty funny that the very thing or people that you say that you all come from, you hate, or secretly you don't really like them. You can take bits and pieces of them that you like and say, oh, I like this about this group and not this, and that. But I don't really like them though. It goes against laws of just divine law. It doesn't make motherfucking sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It's very plausible. It just sure doesn't make sense. I like you as long as you're making me feel comfortable. I like you as long as your existence does not challenge me. I like you for that. I love you for that. No, you don't. Again, that's conditional and that's imprisonment thinking. So you have an assignment. You have an assignment. We all do. You have an assignment and it might be levels to that. Let's say your assignment, like in school, your assignment is to create a visual. What do they call? What are those things called? Uh, Something point, PowerPoint on the computer. I want you to team up with you and Ashley, you and I don't know, Stephanie, you and Matt, and whoever else. Y'all come together. Okay. I want y'all to create a PowerPoint. And this is the assignment of what you're going to do. And there's different tasks to that. You're going to touch on this and that and this and that in your own way. And that assignment might be the same for every classmate in their group. But how you guys express it is going to be different from how they express it. They're going to see something else, another layer into that you didn't see. Right? So that's the facet of life and creativity. We all have an assignment in this life that it could be something very similar. You could be called to be an author. You could be an author for children that have been, because that's what you lived, right? Another person can talk about that same very subject and have something else to tie into that. You could talk about domestic, no, in relationships or in a marriage that you were in. And so many other women or other men can talk about those very topics from their experiences or people that they love experience or make fictional characters from that experience. But it's going to hit people differently because we're all meant to challenge something in each other. We might gravitate to one thing because it might resonate more with what we've gone through and experienced. But the detail of it expands your mind, or different levels of abuse, right? Or different levels of how to get money or how to start your own business. Everyone has something. So never feel like, oh, I can't do that because somebody else is, or why is my assignment any greater? If this is like, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Okay. Oh, baby, he got wet. The fool. Okay, I gotta let him sit out because my cup is like, how cups start to sweat. The ice makes the glass sweat. So, all right. I think that's it for that particular spread. Yeah. So that was the reading. So we're gonna get into the. I'm gonna break down the ritual, the legendary ritual. It's candle work. Okay. Um, I can't see the times. I think that says 100 minutes. So I think that's like an hour 30, I think. I think. I'll fix that later. Okay. So we're gonna get into the ritual now. So if y'all want to get like a journal real quick, a pen and paper real quick, um, go ahead and do that. Or if you have like something to type with, you can write this down. And mind you, um, you can always tie in your own something into this. So whether it's like, hold on, I gotta do the timestamp. Whether it's like something that you do on a regular basis or something that I said that resonates more than something else resonates, yeah, it's 100 minutes. Okay. Yeah, do that. And I am going to reference biblical scripture, not from like a religious, churchy Christian thing, but like off of hoodoo tradition. And some don't believe in that, even if they do practice hoodoo. Um, that's a whole nother thing. Some people feel like it's subjective. Some feel like no, that's just how you do it. But whatever resonates with you, you can use affirmations, whatever resonates with you. Okay. All right. So we're done with the reading. I hope that was what y'all needed. That was a read, not just with the cards, y'all. That was a read. All right. So you're gonna need a candle. You can use a white candle. I always say white candles are like the clear quartz of candles. Like you can amplify it and charge it to do whatever. But you can get you like maybe like a 7-day size white candle. You can use a chime candle. I would say if you're gonna do something that's strong and potent, I I encourage 7 days. They got some big chunky ones like this one. Hold on. I've had this candle since probably before my birthday. My birthday was early May. I don't burn it every day. I typically burn it on Fridays if I can remember, like for self love and stuff like that. This motherfucker is chunky. Okay. I got this off Amazon. They have some at like the international markets, usually the Mexican, like the ranch markets, they have some thick these motherfuckers is like this big. They have like, and they're about the same height as a 7-day candle, if not bigger. So you can use that for heavy duty stuff. I feel like those candles are for like things like house protection, stuff like something that you know is gonna last a long while. You know, it's gonna do what it do. Okay. But whatever size, it's really preference and based off of, in my opinion, like the time that, like the length of the process that you feel like is necessary for you. Like a chime candle is going to burn within hours. 7-day candle is going to burn for days, right? Or you can burn it, relight it if you're away from your house. You don't want to leave it burning. You come back and then redo it. Like something that is going to be centered around um, a length of time, if that makes sense. So you can use white. This can represent your divine, your divinity. You can use a yellow candle, which can also represent your solar plexus, your visibility, your confidence in yourself. Also, your creative centers. You can use like gold color candles, or you can get creative and like add your inner child into this magic and use like gold glitter, silver glitter, something like that, or sparkly glitter that represents your energy, your essence. You can use your favorite colors and like in different glitters, and like that could represent your energy. Not too much though, because you don't want to like stress your candle out with too much ingredients, because it will cause a lot of smoke, and sometimes it cracks. It can crack the glass if it's too hot, too much shit in there. So you don't want to do that. Because then you can confuse your whole read or your whole experience and think that that was a bad omen when it was just you just did too much, but you just put too much stuff in your candle. Um, Before you get started, I always say like create the atmosphere where you're in a calming state, where you invite your divine team in, you're covering yourself. So you can pray, you can clear the energy with an incense, smudge it out, Florida water it out, spray, some sea salt water, some holy water, whatever you feel guided. Wrap your head, cover yourself spiritually, energetically, and maybe physically wrap your head. But it's all about you got to believe in the work that you're doing. You have to. Like I say that all the time. It's all about the intent, and it's all, you are that power driving force for the tools. They're just there to help you, you know? Um, so the candle color is kind of, it's up to you. It's subjective. Um, and then you're also going to need some petition paper. You can use parchment paper. You can use plain white piece of paper, whatever you got, what you can use, doesn't matter. Of course, a pen, or you can use like a black permanent marker or black something that's like, and sometimes like with certain works, you can use different color ink. So like for this, you can use like a gold ink pen or a silver ink pen, something like that. Um, and then you can get you a journal for your journal prompts, or you can create a note in your phone or your tablets, iPads, whatever, or your laptops, your computers. If you want to do it the old fashioned way, get you a journal, right? Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write your name on your paper. And you're gonna say something along the lines, I embrace my legendary, my iconic soul energy signature that can never be duplicated. Or I honor it, or I take, I whatever. I feel like embrace is the best word. I embrace, I honor, I accept, I appreciate, I show gratitude to my energy, my soul essence, my iconic legendary energy that can never be duplicated. Okay? Write that or however you want to do it. And then you can like sign your name on that paper, or you can write it to yourself. I blank blank, first last name, however you feel guys do it. I blank blank. You could even put your birthday on it. Some people do go to that extreme. I mean, I'm not gonna call it extreme. That's just their preference. You can do that because it makes it very specific of who you are, even down to like your city of birth or where you currently are, like locating you energetically, if you want to do that. But I would stick to me personally. If you don't feel guided to do all that, sign your name on that. It's like you're decreeing this. This is your decree. And then if you feel guided to in your candle, like I said, what I do, you don't have to, but this is what I do. I always cleanse my tools before I use them, especially my candles. So I'm washing them, running them under some water, praying over them, smudging them, or I'll rub them down with some Florida water. You can use some sea salt water, like cleanse the energy. Some people cleanse inside of it. If you do, you gotta let it dry, obviously, or the wick's not going to burn very good. If you like, because I don't feel like there's anything wrong with washing the full candle to cleanse it, just energetically cleanse it. Um, Greetings, how are you? So once you do that, you're gonna get your candle. Like I said, you can dress it. If you're gonna do that, it's not necessarily like you don't have to do that. Like I said, with the glitter, if there's certain herbs that you feel like are gonna help you. So, for instance, in this, if you know that you deal with self sabotage, you deal with pessimism, or you deal with um, imposter syndrome, or you deal with heavy trauma around being seen and visibility. There are certain herbs that could speak to different things that you're dealing with. If you feel guided to do that, um, that's on you. Um, on the candle, you can write like affirmations on it. You can write light, calling, gift, legacy, whatever, soul energy signal. You can write like the words, the words of the action of what you're channeling, or you can even carve it into the candle. Or if you have like something like this, you can get like a pen or something and inscribe that into your candle. Then you're gonna light your candle. You could say something along the lines of, this is my legendary era, my soul is unique, my soul essence is unique, I call in my gifts, I call in my talents, my calling, I embody my divine light. And you can say your name. I so and so, and decree that. Okay. This is where you can add the scriptures in if you want to. So I have a couple or a few scriptures that you could use for visibility and being seen in your purpose. Matthew's 5, chapter 5, verse 14 through 16. I'm just going to quote some of it, not all of it. You are the light of the world. Okay. And then you have Isaiah 60 and 1. So Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is rising upon you. You have Proverbs chapter 18, verse 16. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Now, that scripture right there, I feel like if you feel like you have a big calling, or like you're called to like a certain level of visibility, like a great level of visibility, meaning that it's not better than anyone else's, but maybe it's on a larger platform sense. You know what I mean? That would be the scripture for you. And then this is one of my favorites, Luke chapter 8, verse 16, or you can do 16 through 17. So Luke 8, 16 through 17 says, no one lights a lamp and hides it in the day or sorry, in a jar and puts it under a bed. Instead, they put it on a stand so that those who come in can see the light. So that's another good scripture. I feel like that one can just go for anyone. I like that one, especially if you have fear around visibility or you question your purpose, you question your worth, or you don't know if you have a purpose or you doubt or you question. That's a perfect scripture for you to recite while you burn your candle. Psalm 90. So Psalm 90:17 says, may the favor of the Lord our God has rest on us, establish the work of our hands for us. So if you're somebody that is a creative, whether you use your physical hands to create or you use your hand to type, you use your hand to play instruments, whatever you're doing, the work of your hands, you're a creative person in any sense, whether you're physically, like I said, using your hands, or you just have a creative energy just in general. That would be possibly a good one. Psalms chapter 90, verse 17. Um, the first Peter chapter 2, verse 9, but you are chosen, a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into the world wondrous light. That is a good one, I feel like, for everybody to tap into as God's creation. That one is a good one. Um, so yeah, you can use affirmations that say, I'm the light, I'm not hidden, my gifts make room for me, you know, those things. Then I want you to sit with this, which I'm going to do this too. I'm going to remember I need to do this tonight. I have some other I got some other little journal prompts I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. But you can like ask yourself these questions and like really sit with yourself. Don't rush yourself. You might have to sit it down and come back to it later. But what makes me one of a kind? And it might be cringy for some to ask that question or to even ponder like, like what makes me a special person or a person. And one of a kind is not that you're better than anybody. It just means what sets you apart, what makes you a unique person. That where have I dimmed my light and how will I shine unapologetically? Or how can I shine unapologetically? What does that look like, or where to start with that? Or where, if I imagine myself stepping into greatness, what would that look like? What legacy am I choosing to leave behind? Okay. How will I choose to embrace my legendary light every day on a daily basis? If the world was my stage, what would I perform with my life? Now, I don't agree with this. Okay. But Michael Jackson had a saying that he wanted his life to be the greatest show on earth or something like that. Like, I wouldn't want that. But like, he kind of manifested that in a sense if you really think about it. Like, to be deemed as the greatest entertainer of all time and he's been gone for over 15 years, like that shit's crazy. And like kids that were not even born at the time of his life still like his music and his dances and his style, and like that's crazy. And if you go further back, like, people from way before that time, they are still immortalized. Like, we could say, okay, like, for example, Marilyn Monroe, like, that's someone that still immortalized. Like, women dress up for it's Halloween, still do their hair, their makeup in that look, have her posters and stuff in their rooms and they beauty rooms and shit like that. Kim Kardashian, like that that energy, like what is it that you want to leave behind, right? And not if you can take anything from these people, because like as a celebrity, you do have to have an image that, not if not perfect, then it's like something that's not completely authentic and true of who you are as a person, but to sell something to the masses. You're not selling anything in this life. You are showing up as your authentic self. So how can you show up as your authentic self wholeheartedly and legendarily? And what I mean by that, not everybody has to know your name after you pass, but the people that are important to you, what is it that you would want them to remember about you? All right. So, with that being said, that's pretty much it. Now let this shit, you can let it marinate. If you want to burn this on specific like days, you can burn it on Sundays because Sundays represent the solar. If you want to burn it also on Monday, which is the moon day, that shadow and light, just to kind of bring those gaps together. If you want to do it on Friday, which is Venus Day, a day of love, and a day of um, even beauty or just an admiration of self. If you want to tap into that, you can burn your candles on that, or you can just keep them straight burning every single day. You know, remind yourself, go burn my candle, set the intention, sit with that energy, do my journal prompts, maybe do different journal prompts throughout the burning process and sit with those or come back to some of them. You know what I'm saying? So, however you feel guided to do it. Okay. 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 So now what we're gonna do our Venus on the block readings. Okay. The list is open. I do have one person on the list right now so far. Venus on the block readings do center around self-love work and also like in relation to different areas of your life, whether it's money, love, visibility, so on and so forth, your sensuality, embracing yourself. There's 9 different readings for you to choose from. Some people choose multiple readings that resonate with them. So they're 22 each, um, either through Cash App or PayPal. Let me put that stuff in the chat real quick so I don't forget. And then Breyonna, I got you, sis. What's the timestamp? If y'all loving this, y'all liking this, show some love, y'all. I think, let me see. I got to be careful. Last time, 118. Okay, 118. It's timestamp. I gotta change this. I gotta change it later. I gotta convert the time. Um, but I appreciate y'all. Show some love, show some likes. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna do the Venus on the block reads now, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. But in the description, it gives you further detail and it shows you what topics to choose from. Like I said, there's 9 topics that you can choose from, or if one or more stands out to you, just make sure that you guys leave the number of the um, reading that you want. Okay, so yeah, choose your theme from the list, y'all. 9 different ones. So, Brianna, you have number 9. So that is the, let's see, Venus. So number 9 is the love letter from Venus. So that's a direct letter from Venus to you. So, for example, if you want a beauty protection read, that's number 7, which it taps into the energy that you're giving out and how to protect your essence, your energy, your aura. Um, Venus don't chase. That's reading number 4. So like the numbers, it'll tell you what the topic of the reading is based off of the number. And then if you do purchase a reading, you can send 22 for whatever reading you're getting, to my Cash App or PayPal, which is linked in the chat and in the description. And then make sure you put number blank for, so I know what reading you're getting off that menu, that list. All right. So, Breyonna, I'm going to start with you. You have number 9. It's a love letter from Venus. So your timestamp is, oh, my eyesight, girl. I'm gonna have to fix these timestamps anyway. So, all right. So a love letter from Venus. Thank you, Divine Spirit, for your divine wisdom, divine truth, and clarity. Ask for permission to tap into Breyonna's energy. What is it that the essence, the divine feminine goddess essence of love, Venus, planet, and energy of love? What is the message for her? What is the message for Breyonna? What's the message? Six of Cups. The Judgment card again. That Judgment card has been like trying to pop out all night. Okay. 4 of Pentacles is at the bottom. Ooh. Nope. We're going back to the okay. So it could be something from like a past experience, something in your youth, like when you were younger, maybe where you feel like you were more emotionally open, maybe even like you would say, oh, I was gullible, maybe something like that. um that recollection of that period of your life, that time in your life, spirit is wanting you to like sit in it, not in a way to like torture you or punish you. And maybe you have kind of been trying to understand or figure out why this energy is constantly presenting itself or has been presenting itself to you as of late. um Part of it is to see just how much you've actually grown past that, progressed past it, maybe even in your standards of what you see for yourself, and maybe specifically with love, with the star. It's like, that vision of what you want in love, it could look very different. You may even see, how to explain this, like you may even like understand or see how in the past, like that desire, that goal that you have for love or that vision has never left you, and how it wasn't meant to work out with those certain type of energies or those particular type of people, or maybe even where you were within yourself at the time, like that wasn't supposed to happen, as a way to show you like it wasn't a failure that you were in that experience or that it didn't work out. It was because those people did not fit that template of what you actually deserve, what it is that you really are manifesting or coming into. um hmm. I feel like Venus energy too is like, remember to preserve what's precious, whatever that means to you. Remember to preserve that. And to preserve doesn't mean to never give or to never share, to never open, but it's like it's preserved for a certain time. It's preserved for a specific purpose. Like if you think of fine wine, that you think of wine that is greatly it's been kept away so we can age, so it can be rich in its flavor, right? And it's depends on the price too. Sometimes like those fine wines, like they gonna be pricey, right? Because they're worth the price. They're of high value, and they may be for certain events or certain celebrations, or for people that would value that sort of thing, even if they're just keeping it in their house and not opening it or ever drinking it or tasting it. So spirit wants you to think of your essence, and that preserve, the more it is kept away or kept sacred, kept to curate, to form, um to pull its richness out of its flavor, like the more that time with purpose. It's not saying isolate to never be, but to know how to keep parts of you kept sacred. And it might be over time that you learn, like, It wasn't meant. I wasn't ready for that at that time. Um, this person may have not valued what, if it was too soon, too great, too soon, or I was too young I had to have a little bit of life experience or a little time to myself. So yeah, with you, your energy, it becomes stronger and more flavorful over time. Um, it's not saying that the grapes are any different. You're still the same person, but the grapes or whatever the fruits or whatever that makes the wine, it has time to um get its flavoring. I don't know the word, like the process of how that works, but you know what I'm saying. Even under the pressure and the crushing, all of that makes great, beautiful wine. That's how spirit wants you to look at yourself. And the energy of Venus is like, see yourself as that fine wine. And if it helps, and I'm always like urging you to eat. I don't know what that is. Like, I think the last, maybe not the last Venus read I did for you, but it was one where I was saying like something about like fruit and like take your time tasting, like eating it. I'm getting the same thing with wine. Maybe get yourself your favorite wine or maybe some new wine that you never tried, and sip it slow. And like, it's a message within that, like about self and like how to take you in, your flavor, your what makes it unique, what makes your energy, your essence, your love unique. And that's very Venusian as well, like wines and fruit and tasting and sensual, like eating, like not sexual, but like, I'm like sensual where you're taking in the experience of just not the taste, but how it smells. When people do the wine testing, it's like a whole sensual experience, right? How it smells, what it tastes like, maybe how it makes you feel in your body, like what's the effect? Is it too sweet? Is it too bitter? Do I feel a little hazy? Is it like a good feeling? What is it? Does it give me a headache? Does it give me a stomach ache? And maybe add to the sound, like what you're listening to, as you're drinking your wine. How does the music make you feel? What's coming to mind? Maybe something visual. It could be you watching TV. What are you watching? Are you reading a book while you sipping your wine? What you reading? Making it experience. I mean, it has something to do with you, like as a person, like that analogy or that metaphor of a wine, the wine tasting, the process of wine, all of that. Hopefully I'm making sense when I say that. But and the timing, allowing it to age, allowing it to preserve and, get its potency, get its flavor. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for you, sis. Before I let you go, let me pull. I don't know why I didn't get my Aphrodite cards out. It's okay. I'm gonna use what I got on the table right now. But actually, no, I do have somewhat of like love in it, but not like romantic. But it is a romantic deck. But we're tapping into just love in general, Venus energy. I'm gonna use this deck. Okay, message for Breyonna as a love letter from Venus, the planet of love, the goddess of love. We're gonna tap into that. Prayer, wish, and faith. I don't know if you can see it because my lighting is so pink. Okay. But it says your prayers and requests do reach the heavens, even if you have your doubts. Okay. So that might be a reassurance from the divine, from Venus. Okay. And it could be like too with the Hawaiian thing, the timing and the preserving of it is like connected to divine timing too. All right. So that was your reading, sis. Whenever you do watch this, you might not be on right now. Um, but yeah, I hope that resonates. If anybody else is interested, let me know before I get off of here because if not, that will be the reading. That will be the live. Let me know. And I'm sip my drink, my watered down margarita. Sip that slow. But yeah, this was a good message, good live. Some of it wasn't like I was trying to stay on topic. I mean, it is still on topic, but the way in which the things came out, I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting all of that. I wonder, Did my shit come? Because I thought that's why my dog was barking in the middle or the beginning of the live. I thought it's because my delivery was made. It should. It's 8 o'clock now. It's 8 p.m., but sometimes they come a little late. Sometimes. Yeah, it was delivered. Okay. All right. All right. So I think that does it. I'm going to put the timestamps up in case you missed this live. You can come back and watch it, catch the replays. You guys can see the parts maybe that you missed. You know, if you guys want to book a reading with me, I am available for readings. I do love readings. I do life purpose readings, ancestral guidances, all of that. I have a library of readings. So just let me know if you need like a recording, audio recorded reading, if you prefer so something to play back and listen to when you need, or if you prefer like live like readings, like right in the moment readings and that interaction over the phone. I do have 30-minute sessions as well as hour-long session readings. Some are lengthy. Other services I have, they are over the hour, that hour time frame. So if you guys would like to book coaching sessions, I do different types of coaching as well, different parts or points in your journey in your life. So if you're interested in all of that, my website will be linked in the description of this video, or you can visit Walu Child Readings as it appears on my channel, Walu Child, and then readings dot ninja. If you would like to get an audio recorded reading or any of my accessories, my handmade altar waters, my decks, all of that is on the shop tab of my website. For the phone sessions and coaching sessions, that's under the booking tab. All right. So y'all be blessed. Y'all be great. Okay. Much love as always. And I'll catch you guys in next week's Ghetto Fairy, where we'll be doing our Mystic of the Week segment. So we'll have a guest next week. Okay. So y'all stay tuned for that. And I'll figure out we should do a little bit of interacting with the audience, like, for our Mystic of the Week. I'll try to like tie that in as well. But yeah, as always, y'all, much love. Y'all be blessed. Stay safe, okay? And until the next one.